days ago, and she says Megyn Kelly breaks down the new race hoax involving WNBA star Angel Reese inventing racial harassment. So we're going to take a look at that, and we're going to assess what's going on because so there's some racial division in this topic right here. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right down. Let's get right down to it, if we may. And it's interesting. It's interesting what's going on, but you know what? Let's get it.
Another race hoax takes center stage, this time in the WNBA. This story has had many twists and turns over the past week, so we're going to walk you through how it all unraveled in spectacular fashion. It all started on May 17th during the WNBA season opener when Caitlin Clark's team, the Indiana Fever, faced off against the Chicago Sky, home to player Angel Jussie Smollett Reese. Just kidding. Angel Reese was the competitor. During the game, Caitlin Clark received a flagrant foul call against Reese. In other words, Caitlin committed the foul. After slapping her arm, Reese fell to the ground momentarily before jumping up to follow Clark across the court, angry at the foul. Keep in mind, she's committed umpteen numbers of these against Caitlin Clark, including she was the one who with the fingernails, but she was very angry that she'd been pushed, she felt, by Clark. Clark said there was nothing malicious behind the foul, and it's just a part of the game. Reese appeared to agree, eventually saying, all right, it was just a basketball play. Then after the game, the Associated Press reported the WNBA was launching an investigation into alleged racial abuse.
About what?
Directed at Reese by Fever fans. Fans rooting for Caitlin Clark. The WNBA confirmed the investigation in a statement that read in part, the WNBA strongly condemns racism, hate, and discrimination in all forms. They have no place in our league or in our society. We are aware of the allegations and are looking into the matter. Then Reese had a change of heart. She posted a TikTok video, which included this screenshot. It shows Clark walking away from Reese after the foul with the message, "White gal running from the fade." It has since been taken down by Reese. Reese then spoke to reporters about how the alleged racism hurled her way was very hard to deal with during the game.
Obviously, there's no place in this league for that. I think the WNBA, our team and our organization has done a great job supporting me. I've had communication from everyone, from so many people across this league, and being able to support me and going through this whole process. Obviously, it could happen to me, it could happen to anyone, and I think they've done a great job supporting us in this.
How did it affect you Saturday, trying to do your job, trying to play, and having this going on simultaneously?
Yeah, obviously it's tough, but I think I have a great support system. I'm loved by so many people, and obviously in the moment it's hard to hear, but my support system is great. God has protected me.
What do you think the league's response, just coming out right away and getting that investigation going?
Yeah, obviously, like I said, they understand that this is the priority. Obviously, there's no place for this, and they preach. I think 2 days before they put out no hate, no speech. And obviously, the women in this league, they know that, and know there's no space for that.
Are you kidding me? Let me pause this for a second.
So now
Let me pause this for a second. So she can say, and Miss Angel Reese, who sounds like an angel when she speaks to the media, right? She can say white. She can identify Caitlin Clark by the color of her skin on a post on social media where she has followers. She can say that out loud. Imagine if Caitlin Clark had said, "Black girl running away from the fade." If she had said that, she would be canceled. She would be fired. She would be eliminated from society. Caitlin Clark, if she had said what Angel Reese said about her, white girl running from a fade, which is running away from a fight, basically. And that was a hard foul. She had an open lane to the basket. They're playing basketball. She has to stop the opponent from scoring. That's the basic line. This is the basic 101 from basketball on any other sport. Stop the others from scoring. She did that. It was a little bit of a tough foul. Nonetheless, call it a day, go the other way. But no, they try to make it into a racial situation here. And that is, before Megyn Kelly continues with her assessment, I feel like there's such a double standard in this country. There is racism now more than ever racism now more than ever towards white people in America, and nobody says nothing. I'm a Hispanic man. I was born in Peru. I'm not white. It doesn't matter. You have to call it for what it is. You have to call it for what it is, and you can be racist to a white person in America and nothing be happen to you. Actually, you can nothing be happen to you. You can go around the country like nothing. Sometimes praised. Sometimes people embrace these types of um, things, expressions that people say about white people. Nobody cares. You said that about a black person, people lose their minds. Tell me how fair that is.
It was hard to hear when it happened. What happened exactly? You were subjected to racism? What specifically? What happened? It was hard to hear. If it can happen to me, it can happen to, and did it happen to you? What exactly is your evidence that anything at all happened to you
Exactly.
involving racism from the Fever fans? Okay, well, the evidence for why an investigation was launched by the WNBA was unspecified. The Daily Mail reported that Reese's coach and team only found out about the racism allegations when everyone else did, and they were not aware of any hate speech during the game. Angel Reese did not run off the court saying somebody said something racist to me.
Yeah.
Now, the latest news is that they heard anonymous social media commentators saying there was racism. Oh, that's how you began your investigation? So nobody in the arena was actually complaining? She wasn't complaining? You, the coaches, didn't hear anything? It's some anonymous social media users who got this started. That's reliable. Now, some claim the evidence was alleged monkey sounds being made, they said, by the crowd when Reese made the free throw shot that came as a result of the flagrant foul. Listen here.
It's a flagrant. And then Chicago will maintain the basketball. Reese misses.
That's a monkey?
I don't know what that is. To me, it sounds like a noisemaker, one of those weird noisemakers that you might use on New Year's Eve, which is very common during these free throw shots to distract the opposing team's player. But it certainly doesn't jump out at me as a monkey sound, and it probably doesn't jump out at you that way either. It's people who are looking for these alleged claims.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, like, who in a crowded arena would actually do such a thing, right? It's like the people who think that there are racists and racism everywhere in America, those are the ones who go to that place.
Exactly.
But without any supporting evidence, nothing more than a statement put out by the WNBA about unspecified racism, and now we know that's based on social media users, some sports analysts had no problem declaring, oh, it happened. There's racism at these WNBA games. Listen to what ESPN's Monica McNutt and Chene Ogumake and Emmanuel Achu of Fox Sports all had to say.
The aftermath, the fact that the WNBA has to put out a statement because of racist comments and unsafe conditions toward Angel Reese. Like, I just want people to be mindful. If this was the other way around, oh, Lord, you can only imagine how the conversation would have gone.
When it comes to racism and
What are you talking about if it was the other way around? If it was the other way around, Caitlin Clark would be eliminated from society, period. Period. What are you talking about if it was the other way around?
hateful rhetoric and the statement that the WNBA is saying, I think it's important because at the end of the day, if you are truly a basketball fan, you would understand and agree. We have no space in our game for those types of comments.
People are using this situation as a cover for their innate vitriol and maybe their innate kind of racism or racial tension or racial misunderstanding. And now that they have been given a reason, at least a reason that they're going to try to take, which is Angel Reese reacting to Caitlin Clark's foul, now this is their opportunity to say what they always wanted to say, but they needed a mask to put on to cover up the innate whether it's racism or the innate prejudice or just the innate hate that they have for Angel Reese and the way in which she carries herself.
What an idiot.
Okay. You heard the one commentator say those types of comments. What comments were they, sir?
Yeah.
What specifically? Walk us through them. He has no idea. And Acho alluding to fans being comfortable spewing racism while wearing masks. What was the racism that was spewed? What masks? What, again, what evidence are you citing? Walk us through it. You're a journalist, right? You purport to be a sports journalist, commentator. Walk us through it. Totally open-minded. Let's do it. It took the WNBA 10 days to announce the results of its investigation, releasing a statement on Tuesday reading, based on information gathered to date, including from relevant fans, teams, and arena staff, as well as audio and video review of the game, we have not substantiated it. That's it? You got everybody worked up over absolutely nothing. You have not substantiated any allegations of race. Maybe we shouldn't run with anonymous social media users' allegations. Perhaps social media is not the most reliable source for massive racism investigations without anybody who was actually there having heard, seen, or witnessed it. And maybe you should fill in the lines a bit more when you announce that your big race hoax was exactly that. Maybe release the transcripts of the athlete to whom you spoke or the fans. One would assume they spoke to Angel Reese. What did she say? She said in that clip, if it can happen to me, it can happen to you. It was hard to hear.
What happened?
Was it? What specifically did she hear, and how was it? Well, how was it hard on her? Was she asked? What was the answer? She said it could happen to her. It could happen to anybody. Well, can it? What specifically happened? Don't WNBA fans have a right to know? What about people of color who go to these games and have to sit there wondering whether there are all these rabid racists all around them? Don't they deserve to fully understand the scope of your investigation? Clay Travis put it best, saying Reese is Jussie Smollett with a worse shooting percentage. Totally agree. And now one of the hosts in that montage we just played has changed her tune. ESPN's Chane Ugumake took to X following the WNBA's announcement, and there she claimed she's committed to doing better. And her initial take was, in the heat of the moment.
If you know me, you know I'm not afraid to say I can do better. I am sorry that my message was in the heat of the moment, because when I initially spoke on the topic, it really came from a place of care.
Did it?
It was based on firsthand conversations with people very close to the situation who raised real concerns, and they told me what they had experienced. And I felt like it was important and it was necessary to acknowledge those allegations and also voice those experiences. Now, in the process, however, I totally recognize that it may have impacted fans in a way that I did not intend, and I am sorry. I understand that having a platform comes with a responsibility, and I do not take that lightly.
Please.
So as our league continues to grow, I am going to grow with it. And I am so committed to be better in how I share perspectives and grow alongside the game that I truly love and adore.
So she just said, that she went through a racial thing, Angel Reese. And then now, how do you flip-flop like that? It makes no sense, right? It makes absolutely no sense to flip-flop like this. And it's unfortunate, but it happens, and it is allowed in this country for Black people, for sometimes Hispanic people, for any minority, especially Black people in the majority. They do that. They play the racist card. They do that. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. They jump the gun all the time. It's very unfortunate. And nothing happens. There's no consequences. Put yourself in the other shoe. What if a white person, a white journalist, would have said the things that they said? What if?
This is ridiculous. Don't worry. There's never any penalty for fake racism reports. None. She knows very well she can proceed with impunity on such reporting. By the way, she did not address her own false reporting. Let me tell you how it's done. When you say something that is totally false on the air, you have to go out, and by the way, it needs to happen in the same forum in which you committed the sin. Not on social media, which is the coward's way out. You go and you look into the same camera into which you made the first allegation, and you say, here is what I said, and that was wrong. And this is how I know it was wrong. And then you do your apology.
Right.
She didn't even address the falseness that she spewed. I'll do better. I'll do better. Please forgive me. She had reported that players and coaches, that's a quote, of Chicago Sky, quote, heard things that were out of bounds coming from fans and that the matter was serious. That was her reporting. Okay, so that's not a heat of the moment take. Yet there does seem to be racism in the WNBA, one with much more clear evidence that is being totally ignored outside of conservative media.
Say it.
Last week, Brittney Griner and her team faced off against the Fever and Caitlin Clark.
That's right.
As you may remember, back in 2022, Griner was arrested in Russia on drug charges. The Biden administration had to do a prisoner swap to get her back, handing over an international arms dealer known as the Merchant of Death, which we traded to get this gal back. You would think she'd want to steer clear of any controversy and be feeling nothing other than love of country. You would probably be wrong. In a viral clip, after she made a foul play, Griner appears to mouth something rather controversial. It might be, though we don't know, trash and possibly fucking white girl.
That's what she said.
Others have suggested it might be trash and fucking whack call. We don't know what she's mouthing, but she seems to, have a mouth on her and not exactly be in the gratitude space. Griner herself hasn't commented. Now, why is that? If you were being accused of making racist statements, I think you'd want to clear that up quickly. You'd race to the cameras and put out a statement on X to say, I said fucking whack call. I didn't say effing white girl. But she's not. She's apparently totally comfortable letting those allegations linger. Maybe she's worried that the people on the bench or the people right behind her had a recording going. You know how people do? They record the game. They want to show their friends that they were there. Maybe she's concerned that if she comes out and says it's one thing, there might be proof that it was something else. We don't know because she's not speaking to it, which is odd. And Outkick reports that on Saturday, after that clip received millions of views, not a single reporter asked Griner about it. Not a single reporter. So maybe Griner knows the story will disappear because, again, fake allegations of racism, nobody holds that against you. Anti-white racism, nobody holds that against you.
100%.
That's fine. No problem. And she can behave with impunity and understand that these powerful voices within the sports industry will run cover for her and do the work of attacking alleged anti-black racism where it doesn't exist.
That's right. 100%. 100%. And no, she took the words out of my mouth. You know, you can be racist and say whatever you want against white people. Nothing will be done in this country. That's just the way it is. Plain and simple. That's the way it's going to be. And it's sad. It's very negative. And that's the reason why we cannot move on as a country. That's why the country is divided when it comes to racial division, you know, because there is a double standard. One race can say whatever they want and play victim. The other, one of the other, because there's many races in this country, the other can be, they can call them whatever they want. Any race, by the way, can call white people whatever they want, insult them, call them out, say effing white girl, and nothing would happen. What if Caitlin Clark on the sideline says effing black girl? She, again, would be eliminated from society. She would. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And it's a travesty, but that's what's happening in America. Anyways,